for a generation or more. Like, they've been planning their ascension, and eventually they got to a point where they could raise enough money to run for mayor, and then if they get in there, not much is going to change. My campaign is getting the backing it needs from everyday New Yorkers. We are this close to setting the all-time record for individual donations to a New York City mayoral campaign. This is a grassroots campaign. I'm going to get in there, and I'm not going to owe anyone anything except for you all, the people, the families of this city that have voted me into office. That's the kind of leadership I want to provide. I can't wait to hear from you all the problems that you're seeing around you and what we can do to make them better. So thank you all for being here. I'm not sure if you were drawn here by the bad weather, the cake, the message, pastor, Vanessa, my wife,
the cake.
any of them. I'll take any of them. Really. And it's imperative to me that I have the right partners when I get into City Hall. And one of those partners is going to be the next borough president of the Bronx, my friend Vanessa Gibson.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
All right, we are in the house of God. Praise the Lord. Amen. Thank you so much. So I welcome each and every one of you here to our meet and greet with Andrew Yang, our next mayor of the city of New York. I welcome you to the Word of Life Church, and we have our pastor and first lady here. And I want to recognize pastor and first lady because what many may not know is every single Saturday, this church feeds over 1,000 residents from the Bronx and beyond, right? It's incredible. I've had the opportunity to work with pastor and first lady, and I came here a couple of Saturdays ago, and I came at 10 o'clock. And I didn't know what to expect. I had a nice dress on, it was beautiful, it was sunny. And by 1 o'clock, the line was still long. And I said, oh my God, Pastor, I can't stay anymore. But my back was hurting because we were given our fruits, vegetables, milk, meats, everything. This church, Word of Life, is an institution here in the South Bronx. And it is pastors like Pastor and First Lady that really speak volumes to the work that needs to be done in the Bronx. So I just want us to show Pastor and First Lady some love. Thank you for your work, for loving the Bronx the way you do, and for being a part of addressing food insecurity. Because we've experienced this, and that's why this conversation is so important. I am Vanessa Gibson. I am a council member representing District 16 here in the Boogie Down Bronx. And I thank all of you for coming out today. I know the weather is not great, but you realize the importance of what we're talking about, the future of the Bronx and the future of the city of New York. And for those of you who have had the honor and privilege to work with and walk with over the past 8 years, I've represented the residents of Claremont, Claremont Village, Concourse Village, Highbridge, Mount Eden, and Morris Heights for 8 years in the City Council. And now as I close this chapter in the City Council in December, I know that God has much more in store for me. And so it's an honor to say that I am a candidate running to become your next Bronx Borough President. I am excited at what God is doing in our lives. We are 4 weeks away from one of the most important elections that our city has seen. The election for a new leader of the city of New York, a mayor, a public advocate, a controller, borough president, and New York City Council. And I am running for Bronx Borough President because the borough needs a champion for the people, for our children, our elders, veterans, and every family that lives in this borough. We need someone who is unafraid to make tough decisions. I have been true to this work, and I've been in the trenches with all of you. The past year of COVID-19 has reminded all of us that life is so precious. No one is promised tomorrow. I've had to work with families and bury children, bury mothers and fathers, and it has been painful. But I am reminded that through every challenge, God is still working, and we are still here. And we have to recognize that those we've lost to COVID-19, their deaths cannot be in vain. And so we have to carry them in our lives, in our hearts, to make sure that this work continues out of Borough in the Bronx. So sometimes when we're affected, our situation is much worse. We are dealing with job insecurity. We need to get Bronxites back to work. And when I say back to work, I don't mean just any job. I want sustainable green jobs, union jobs, prevailing wage jobs. I want careers. I want our families to be uplifted and have a pathway to the middle class, because that's what we deserve, right? We want to address food insecurity. Pastor and First Lady are feeding 1,000 families every week. These families need food. They need access to healthy food that's nutritious, not processed poison, but healthy food. So we have to deal with farming and agriculture and health bugs and make sure that we look at greening this great borough. We have to focus on housing and the real affordability that we struggle with every day. We need housing for families, right? For seniors, for veterans, for youth aging out of foster care. We want it all. We want affordable housing for families and children in our borough. We also need to deal with health care. We are the unhealthiest county in the state of New York. Out of 62 counties, we're number 62. We have to turn those numbers around from statistics into success stories. So we have to deal with access to health care, quality and affordable and low-cost health care. We have to deal with economic development and supporting our small businesses, our mom and pop shops. We have to deal with environmental justice and climate change. We have a lot at stake, guys. And I just want all of you to understand that you all play a role too. No matter what title you have in front of your name, we are all called to be a part of something much greater than ourselves. And so that's our message, Forward Together Bronx. When we talk about the Bronx, the home of hip-hop, Yankee Stadium, Orchard Beach, and City Island, and all the beauties of our great borough, we deserve more, and we're going to get more with us as your next Bronx Borough President. So I ask you to join us, walk with us on this journey. In 4 weeks, Tuesday, June 22nd, we need you to stand with us so that we can take the borough of the Bronx to the next level. I thank you so much for coming out today. I look forward to our continued work. And once again, I want to thank Pastor and First Lady for welcoming us into their home and their space. And I really appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you, to walk with Andrew Yang and his team, and make sure that we have a better and brighter Bronx County and the city of New York. God bless you all.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Marisol Rodriguez, campaign manager for Vanessa Gibson, who I've had the pleasure and the honor to work with for over 2 decades, when she was just a young little girl walking into the office of Aurelia Green as an intern in Albany. And back then I was a staffer, chief of staff for then Assemblyman Roberto Ramirez. We had this forum today, and I'm also equally honored to be in the presence of Andrew Yang, who I know many of us followed during the presidential election, and then, you know, he stepped up to run for mayor of New York, and I see no better partnership than Andrew and Vanessa. And I hope you all join us in that. We created this forum here today to hear from you, to listen from you. As a campaign manager, and I'm sure the Yang team feels the same way, we go around, we do different events, we do press conferences, we do commercials, and all that, but sometimes it's rare when our candidates and the community has an opportunity to have direct dialogue with those running for office. So we wanted to open this forum for all of you. Please raise questions, please express your concerns, because as they continue to the finish line, June 22nd, they need to be able to speak and address to the issues that you all voice. So I'm gonna open it up for questions.
Yes, we'll give you this mic. You'll sound like this. Yeah, sure thing, sir.
I'm kind of pissed off with working all my life, and I get what's that?
Disability?
SSI.
Okay.
The card, and when I go to the doctor, I get bills, and I'm pissed off because I paid for welfare and everything else, and I can't get Medicaid. So I don't understand. I need help. I don't like it. We in this country, we work hard for that money.
Yeah.
You took it out, you need to give it back to us.
Yep, that's right.
You're 100% right. You did work hard. You had that money put into account for you. Now it's your time to get that money, and then you show up for health care, and they look and say, hey, this isn't covered, that isn't covered, we need this. I mean, the central problem is that our healthcare system isn't really designed about our health. What's it designed for? Generate as much revenue as possible.
Corporate.
And so here in New York, we need to do better for our people. Like if you need healthcare, we need to be able to deliver it for you. I want to make and I know Vanessa's into this as well. Like I want to make major investments in our healthcare system so that people can get what they need, even if technically like it's not covered or there's like a cost issue, because right now it's not working for a lot of people. It's not just you. What's your name, sir?
Joseph Redden.
So Joseph, I mean, you worked hard and you thought that the system would be there for you on the other end.
Yes, I
And
did.
then you show up and you're like, wait a minute, like what was I doing all those years? Like all the stuff that I got taken out of my paycheck, like it's payback time. You deserve better, and we need to deliver better. And this is something that I'm passionate about. I know Vanessa's passionate about, where our healthcare system is failing far too many New Yorkers.
Mr. Young, our concern about the immigration, we work with a lot of immigrants and newly comers, right now living in shelters and without any job. And then we have to be working and making sure that they fed and everything else with them. But I didn't hear you mentioning immigration in your presentation.
Well, thank you for raising this question. I'm the son of immigrants myself, and I know that immigrants make New York City so much stronger, more wonderful, more diverse. And so we have, but you're right, it's probably not, like it's on the website. Who's going to go through a website? There's like a lot of pages on the website. But we have many investments directly in the immigrant community, including legal services, which right now far too few immigrants have access to, English language resources so that people can actually get the services that are meant to be directed to them. And I want to describe one thing that kind of tells you where my heart is, that we have an education opportunity fund where any family that has a child in school that they're below the poverty line or an English language learner, which is going to be the vast majority of these immigrant kids, their family gets $1,000 where they can allocate it to whatever their child needs. So there are a lot of things that we want to do for the immigrant community, but I love the fact that New York City is a sanctuary city and that people, one of the most dramatic things that I proposed is that green card holders should be able to vote in municipal elections, which would change the political makeup of the city. And the fact is, if you're a green card holder, you pay taxes, you have a job, your kids go to school, like you're not having a say in what happens in the city. It strikes me as undemocratic. So I'm very, very pro-immigrant, the children of immigrants. And I will say too, representing perhaps the first Asian American mayor in the city's history, if you look at a community that feels like they get ignored or left out, Asian Americans like very much feel like their needs aren't being seen or heard, and a lot of their issues are very similar to the ones you just raised, which is there are a lot of people who are immigrating from other countries who have very little in the way of support or resources.
Answer very well. I met Mr. Andrew, well, I see him on TV, but when I went to...
I'm told I'm taller in person, is that accurate?
when I went to Eastchester Garden to go to see who this man really is, and to hear what he really has in mind for us as our new mayor. I was very touched. I was very touched on the subjects that he came up with and the things that he had for us. He talks about the prison, people coming from prison and don't have any place to live. He says that he wants them to have a home to go to. He also say that he wants them to have jobs and not to be turned back because they just coming from prison. That should not stop them from having a job or living somewhere that they don't have to go homeless. He said that he's tired of seeing people homeless in New York City. And we have a mayor that is not doing anything for us. So when he say that, and he also say that when children are left alone and parents goes to work, then trouble comes because they are there by themselves and they don't have no one. And the next thing you know, it's a gun. They play with a gun. So he addressed all of these problems that these young youth should go to work, get a job, summer job, and that the parents that have the small kids should also go to a camp, have a camp for these kids to go to, not to just sit at home and idle and get into trouble. When I listened to a lot more that Mr. Andrew said, I was very, very touched. And that is why I am out here dedicating myself to help him spread the news, and I'm doing it voluntarily. I am not doing this because I want money. I'm doing it voluntarily because we need help. We need help. In everything that we do, we need help. The whole entire New York State. A lot of people move from here. Everything, the rent is so high. And no one, not even the mayor, try to help us to bring down the landlord's rent. Now, Mr. Andrew has addressed, and Miss Vanessa has addressed all of these things already to us up there. So I am here today, volunteering my time, to let people know that Mr. Andrew should be the next mayor of New York City. He talks very low. He's a calm person. He's not one of those that speak loud, so bear with him. Just listen to him. He has good intention for all of us. Miss Vanessa, the same thing. I want her to be the, you know something, I called the borough president because I need to speak to him. And I left messages and message and message and message, and nobody, not even one person, ever called me back. Even when I called, I was crying on the phone because I was deeply disturbed. And I figured that he would at least have the decency to have somebody call me. Nobody. So Miss Vanessa, we need you. We need you desperately. Mr. Andrew, we need you. We need change in our life so we can live again and feel like we come out of all of this poverty business. One more thing Mr. Andrew had talked about is that housing, the Niger building need to be fixed. They need to turn them over so people, Mr. Andrew already said all of these things in East Chester Heights. So I just want people to know that he has good intention for all of us. The Niger building that nobody recognized, nobody fixed anything. Mr. Andrew is here. He's gonna do all of that for us. He's gonna fix us up so we can live again in a decent home. That's what he's here for. We need him. We need him.
I do have a question with regard to, and I apologize that I'm late, so you might have already started to talk about some of this. Well, I have, actually, I have two questions. One is, I haven't heard much around what your plans are with regard to young adults, adolescents. What are you recommending would be some of the programs that are necessary in the Bronx, particularly the South Bronx, where we have many young adults who need to be given an opportunity for them to be engaged properly, academically, and with work, for them to begin to start getting the skills that they need in order for them to be contributing members of the community, which is what they want.
Yes.
Right? And the second question is, what are you proposing to do to move persons from the informal economy to a more formal economy? We know that COVID has affected many community members here who were forced out of having a job and have gone and created their own business, right? They're walking around selling flowers, they're selling whatever they're able to sell on the street. And they don't want to do that for a living. They want to be given an opportunity for them to gain steady employment. So moving them from the informal economy into the formal economy.
I'm incredibly passionate about giving our young people a path forward. And I was so proud to stand with Assemblyman Kenny Burgos and announce that we should more than double the number of jobs through the Summer Youth Employment Program. Because right now, the way it works is you have 75,000 jobs and 150,000 people apply. So then if you're a young person or their family, you say, well, there's a 50-50 chance my son or daughter is going to get this job. And that's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, and then if they don't get that job, then you look around being like, okay, like what are we doing instead? That family should be able to be comfortable saying, look, we're going to get a job through this program, and there are needs all over the city. So instead of having 75,000, we're suggesting 175,000, which would be enough to meet the demand. And the $15 an hour that child gets throughout the summer is meaningful to a lot of families. I mean, that's no joke. Now, the goal for me is to try and expand the year-round opportunities, because the summer job, as great as it is, it's not, in my view, as good as something that carries throughout the whole year. Now, it's tougher to find year-round activities and jobs that sync up with these kids' school schedules, but we're looking to more than double that too, from its current level to 25,000 ongoing a year. And we have to stop acting like our kids are all heading to college and all going to be doing the same sorts of things. I'm a huge advocate of vocational, technical, and apprenticeship connections, particularly at the high school level, because for a lot of these kids, what's going on in the classroom is just not very relevant to them. And so if you get them into any work environment, and I'm not even very picky on this, because in part because I talked to people who worked at like the local store, the local grocer, and that gave them what they needed, where they like got a little bit of money in their pocket, a little bit of structure, a little bit of discipline, a little bit of responsibility. Those kinds of connections are so important for our kids, and the city should be subsidizing them. And I've gone to a bunch of different small businesses and said, hey, if the city were to pitch in half of a young person's salary, like, would you take someone on? And most of the small businesses say yes. So that to me is a great investment of the city's resources. It's a win. It's a win several times over. Now, the informal economy to the formal economy, we have to make it so that if you aren't, and first the goal is so that people are doing what they want to do, and so they don't want to be in the informal economy, then hopefully they have something that they can do that they prefer. But then if they are in a position where they need to engage in some kind of street retail, then we should make it like a snap for them to be able to do so in a way that actually says, look, okay, like, who are you, what are you selling, like, where are you gonna be selling it, like, it should be fine. And we have to try and include them in the formal economy to a higher degree. I'm incredibly excited about the possibility that we can get more people connected to the formal economy, because it's right now very exploitative and predatory and expensive to not be in the formal economy. I mean, the most basic is that if you don't have a bank account, then you get exploited by check cashing fees and money lending fees and pawn shop lenders and remittance fees that eat up $600 or more in fees that you don't have the money for. Like the theme is that it shouldn't be so expensive to be poor. And right now, it's expensive to be poor because they get you at every turn. And so we can connect people. The fact is, basic bank accounts at this point cost the bank almost nothing to give you. You know, if you look at like the actual cost involved now with the technology, it's very, very low. It's just they don't care about connecting the bottom 11% of New Yorkers because they've done the math and said, I can't make money off of you, so I don't care. I don't care if you get exploited by the check cashing and the money and the rest of it. I know Vanessa's after this too. So when you talk about trying to connect people to the formal economy, that to me is the first step, is you let them know, doesn't matter if you're documented or undocumented, it doesn't matter. Like, you should be able to go and have a bank account that you can be confident and secure in, and then keep more of your money, and then that to me also would help them connect to the formal economy at a higher level. You know what, it's funny when Sophie was talking about, it's like, I could have summarized that being like, let's get our kids some jobs, let's get people bank accounts. Could have summarized it in that way. That's probably what Vanessa would have said.
We have to wrap up if you want to.
No, that's
Yes.
crazy.
Okay, once again, I want to welcome everybody to Word of Life, and most especially, I really want to express our gratitude to our councilwoman, Vanessa Gibson, who has been a trusted partner with this church. She has shown some significant interest in addressing a lot of issues that concern our community. Like she rightly said, she has worked with me and my wife on the food pantry line. And if you have ever worked on that pantry, you know it's a tough job. There are many times, you know. And if you come and volunteer the first time and come back the second time, that really means that you care about the people. You know, so we are proud of the work that she's doing as a councilwoman, and we know that wherever the Lord will take her to, she will continue to commit ourselves to the welfare of the people, the community. And we are also grateful to have Mr. Young with us today. I really want to thank Ms. Cologne. She's quiet, but Ms. Cologne is a force for good in our community. She has done so much for this community. She was the one that reached out to me and told me that she's been in conversation with Councilwoman Vanessa, and that she was requesting that we host these events today. So let's give Ms. Cologne. She and her organization, Honduran AIDS, against AIDS, and the Casa Uruni, which works with the Garifuna community. They are one of the community partners. We've been doing some work together throughout this COVID. We're feeding our community. We're dealing with families that we've bereaved. And she provides, she works with us in this church as a clinician, providing counseling to our community residents who cannot afford to go and obtain mental health care. And she organizes so many activities for us in this church. And when people talk about Word of Life and the things that we do, it is because of people like her who have seen the work we do and volunteer themselves and help us to continue to build capacity in addressing the needs of the community. I want to say that we are happy to have you, Mr. Young. So many people are running for mayor, but you are the only one that have come here.
Yes.
I have a vision, Pastor John. I am going to win this race, and then every candidate will come here next time.
And many people are running for the borough president. But Vanessa is the only one that has been coming here. She didn't start coming here when she wanted to run for borough president. She's been coming here as a city council member. Oh, what am I trying to say? You know, we know where your heart is. and I believe, people say, put your money where your mouth is. Okay. We appreciate your coming to our community. We appreciate your being here with us today. Now, it's true that everybody wants to win, but what are they winning for? What are they winning for? What will their winning mean to me and my community? In this community, we are dealing with fundamental issues. We're dealing with poverty. And anybody knows that, when people are dealing with poverty, it affects every aspect of their lives. We have seen politicians come and go, and the South Bronx has remained the same. I came into the South Bronx and started a church 20 years ago, and hunger was an issue. And 20 years after, we're still dealing with thousands of people who do not know where the next meal will come. Some of them, we only see them once in a while when it is time to come and ask us for votes. So, I know that Vanessa, I was saying to her the other day, I was looking at one of her, advertisement, and I love what she's talking about. She's talking about hunger. She's talking about how to address food insecurity. She's talking about how to help young people go back to work. These things are not impossible. They are doable. But if people do not see the need for it, where there's no vision, people perish. So it's not about the color of our skin. I'm not going to vote for you because you are black or because you are green or because you are yellow. I want to know what you want to do for my community. I want to know how you're going to address the disparities. The South Bronx, the poorest congregational district in the United States of America, and yet Hunts Point Market, the biggest market
right there
in the Northeast, is in our community.
Crazy.
The food comes in and goes out. We cannot afford to buy it. They don't even give us an opportunity to enjoy the things that comes into our community. So I'm glad that, we have people that can come here and ask us and say, what are your concerns? What are your struggles? We need jobs. You cannot alleviate poverty without creating job opportunity for people. Our people need jobs, good paying jobs. We need an opportunity. I was in a meeting with Senator Schumer the other day, and I asked him, I said, what are you going to do for us? Most of our businesses here cannot qualify for the SBA loan because of poor credit. The rescue plan, we don't qualify for it. You apply, they deny you. And yet they're giving the money, just, spreading the money all over the place. But our community cannot access that loan. We cannot access it. The businesses are struggling. Individuals are struggling. Mr. Young, by God's grace, should you win and become the next mayor, please, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, may we never be the poorest and the hungriest district, unhealthiest districts in the United States again. It's been going on from generation to generation. We need to break this cycle of poverty, cycle of hunger, cycle of ill health. It must be broken.
Yes.
It is doable. This is the United States of America. We are investing money all over the world, but we cannot invest money to lift up South Bronx. Look at our schools. They are failing schools. Even the charter schools are failing schools. They are failing schools. Our young people are killing themselves because, like he rightly said, they have no opportunity. We need help, and we know you can do it. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
You can do it.
And I give you my word, after I get in there, you will feel a difference on your streets, in your neighborhoods, with your families. That is my commitment to you all. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you very soon. I'm making a video. I'm gonna go interview some of the residents in here. Bye now.
I'm sorry.
Oh.